Hey everyone, welcome back. Chris McCormick joined by Blake Smith, and today we are at our Scottsdale HQ studio over on our putting platform. And today we have an opportunity to take a look at Scotty Cameron's new line in the Phantom series of putters. Blake, why don't you take us through what we're going to be looking at in this Phantom series?
So there's a lot of really cool upgrades on this. We'll talk about it a little bit more when I'm rolling some putts, but mainly the biggest thing that they've done this year is they've really focused on alignment. So optics on these all the way through the line they've really focused on that. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that they've done, the milling process that they've gone through, some of the changes they've done. These are beautiful putters. Scotty Cameron makes some of the best putters in the world. I'm excited to give them some rolls.
Yeah, we're seeing some new face tech come into the mallet family.
Yep.
Like you said, a lot of feedback from some of the marquee players in the Scotty family. So we've got some Max Homa, some Justin Thomas, inspirations here. So excited to see what you think about these. And with that, before we start rolling some putts, make sure, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. Let's take these guys for a test drive.
Let's go.
So before we start the test here with new Scotty Phantom series, I do want to let everyone know we're going to be testing 3 particular models today. We're going to be going through the 5.5, the 7.5, and the 9. Now, there are going to be 10 models released in this family, but they're going to be doing a dual release. The 11 is actually going to be coming back in May, and the first release is going to be pretty much some samples of what we're testing today. So Blake, I want to start with the 5.5. Now, they are offering a 5, 5.5, and a 5S. So differences being very similar shape, but changing that neck configuration.
Yep.
So this is what has a little bit more toe hang and going to be more of that slant neck design. What are your thoughts?
First off, when I'm looking at this, it's really angular. So it's interesting because at the top here, it looks kind of like a blade putter because they have it kind of separated here with the wings. And then you got aircraft aluminum, this black part. So it's to distribute weight, make the MOI higher, but it really is attractive to both right and left eye dominant people. So they're covering both bases. When I look at this milling, you can see the dual milling. So you can see the deep and you can see the shallow. And Scotty is all about a symbiotic relationship here. So the head to the hosel design, to the shaft, to the grip. They changed their grip this year a little bit.
Yeah,
this
new
is
grip
their
design.
Yep, this is their chain length that they talk about. So they're really going for more of your hand hitting the grip. So overall, there's more feel here. They're really looking at everything. It's all about the whole putter. It's not just one part. But overall, I mean, it looks great. The grip actually feels really good.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed when I first picked it up. I was like, ooh, this is a different shape. And settling it into the hands, I mean, really, really good feel just setting up to address the putter.
Yeah, and it's interesting too with that first putt, I pulled that because I don't usually putt with a toe down. When it's a toe down putter, I have a tendency to over rotate the face. So when I'm doing fittings, I'm trying to get the toe, the face balance or toe down, I'm trying to fit that to the person.
Sure.
I don't fit into this, so I'm just gonna have to make a couple of adjustments, but overall that feel was really good.
Like in some of the previous videos that we've done for offset product, you have a tendency to take that offset product, hold the face off, and with this one, you just let it go a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna have to hold on to it a little bit. Yeah, you can hear a little bit of the click. So it's soft and hard. It's a different kind of sound and feel. It's pretty cool. And this is a Pro V1X, so it's a little bit clicky.
Sure.
There, I dialed it in a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, I can adjust to any putter just like anybody, but I mean, that's why you go through a fitting process. You gotta find out which one fits to you. You don't want to try to fit to the putter. I'm trying to fit to this putter right now.
And like we had kind of hit on previously, talking about optics and talking about neck design, talking about shape, and overall just the characteristics of the putter complementing the player.
Yep.
So this being the 5.5, having that little bit of a slant neck, offset, and toe hang.
Yep.
And then also, you being as tall as you are, this being a 34-inch putter, doesn't quite fit what you would normally have.
It's a little short. I hope it doesn't look like a toy in my hands, but you know, I'm trying to get my arms nice and loose. It feels pretty good having it a little bit down a little bit, but
sure. Okay, so starting with the 5.5, transitioning now into the 7.5. Slightly different shape, going to have some different optics on top. And you had already mentioned about the multi-material construction with that 6061 aircraft grade aluminum, the 303 stainless, 7.5 head compared to 5.5. First impressions, and how's it look at address to you?
It looks to me like some of the center of gravity might have been raised a little bit, so it's interesting to me. But overall, this shape I'm going to always gravitate toward. A little bit more toe hang than I normally use, so I'm going to adjust to it just like I did the last one. But overall, I mean, there's more of the trail edge alignment system here, so that's better for a right-eye dominant person. That's the way that we're going to be fitting it. So this shape's always been a really good straight putter for me. Yeah, see right off the bat.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, that was really good.
And you had mentioned when we were testing the previous model, just the intentional just lines that they created here. And looking at the 7.5, same kind of thing is relevant here.
Everything here, as far as the alignment goes, it is really bringing you to the golf ball. So everything is just making you look at the putter, and it's like, okay, through the golf ball, line, hit your line, you're good to go. All you have to really worry about is speed if you're lined up correctly. Speed's the most important one. But yeah, that double milling, hold that one a bit, is really good. It feels great. I mean, it's got enough click, right? So if you take all the feel away, some people don't really like that. And especially in the Scotty Cameron stuff, when you have a Scotty Cameron, you're really wanting to feel it. Feel is a big part of Scotty Cameron putters.
Oh, absolutely. And you'd even kind of mentioned just the size and depth of that pocket behind that leading edge there, leading maybe to CG placement. And that also kind of tends to influence acoustics, which I'm noticing 7.5 versus 5.5, slightly different sound coming off the face there.
Yep, a little different. It's a little bit more muted here.
So last head I want to test today is the new redesigned number 9. Going out of that slant neck model that we've seen in the previous two, more of a face balance design. This guy, different shape, rework of the model, and totally different optics package. So what are we seeing here in the number 9 model?
Right out of the gate, it's really cool looking. This is a cool design. I mean, it's compact. It's just big enough where you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to miss the sweet spot here. Eye-catching for both right and left eye dominant people. Yeah, it swings really nice.
And talking about the design there, that continuation line all the way across just the top side of the putter. So that line going from leading edge all the way back through the trailing edge, one continuous line, no break in the optics whatsoever. And for players that are extremely visual and like to see that continuation all the way through their alignment.
And with 2 lines here, I use the line on the ball, especially from 10 feet and in. You can put the line on the ball right between these lines, and it'd be really pleasing. And once you get comfortable with it, putting is all about being comfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, that was a little bit of a miss right in the middle of the hole. This MOI is higher for sure. I could feel it. I hit this one maybe a little bit on the heel. Yep. Basically the same speed. I mean, we're gonna see that in the measurement, but that's this dual milling is very nice.
I mean, just as a takeaway when you're talking about MOI and essentially energy transfer into the ball on a miss hit. So for somebody that doesn't necessarily strike the center of the face as often as they would like to, a higher MOI design is good. But if you're a player that intentionally hits it toe side, heel side for speed control and playing different types of greens or different types of breaking putts, I mean, a higher MOI design might actually hurt you a little bit more than it helps you. You don't get that touch. And that's where having a couple of different options available in the 5 series, the 7 series, the 9 series, really gives us an opportunity to fine tune what it is the player needs in addition to what the player wants.
This is not usually something that I'll gravitate toward. Felt really good though. I made all 5. And it's definitely something I could putt with for sure. I really like this grip. This grip really surprised me.
So really good summary of all the models there. And with that, let's take a look at some data and see how they kind of separate themselves.
Right on.
So Blake, taking a look at our ball data here from those samples that we hit with 5.5, 7.5, and 9. Do you want to walk us through what we're taking a look at here?
I mean, the things that stick out to me are going to be launch spin. So when you got 54 backspin on average with the Phantom 5.5, and then 99 forward spin, that speaks to me about the center of gravity.
Sure.
So the center of gravity is going to move up, and that's going to help that ball move forward. So forward spin as opposed to backspin. We're always looking for more forward spin than backspin. Backspin's not necessarily going to be a real good thing when you're going to be putting.
This promotes a little more skid.
Yeah, you don't want it to skid too long, and you can see that skid, those skid numbers, they line up pretty well. It's interesting because the middle one actually skidded the least. So as far as skid goes, we're going to be looking between 17 and maybe on the high end 22. 22 might be a little bit too much, but real low 20s, high teens, that's what we're looking at. All of them performed well. So I'm not going to say one of them was really bad or anything. It's just kind of a compelling story. But overall, I mean, when you look at those numbers across the board, everything's very consistent. Standard deviations, very consistent. Ball speed, very consistent. Overall, I mean, that was a good test.
Let's take a look at club data. So once again, testament to our player here. The efficiency, very solid on everything, and head speed, no surprise, you're our human robot. But what else are you seeing here?
Efficiency, it gets a little bit better when you get into the higher MOI. So that tells the story right there. Club head speed stayed exactly the same, just like you said. Dynamic loft, that's interesting. I added a little bit of dynamic loft to those last two. The first one, a little less dynamic loft. I think it's because I pulled the first two. So the dynamic loft changed a little bit. But that's kind of an interesting thing.
So it could be also having the slant neck versus face balance.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be just your release pattern there too.
Yeah, and Scotty Cameron talks a lot about toe flow. So it felt like I had more toe flow in the beginning.
Sure.
And then dynamic lie, I mean, it was pretty close. It looks like the Phantom 5.5 was right on the button. I mean, overall, those numbers and the standard deviations are really good. That's testament to how they were swinging. I wasn't really fighting these, right? I mean, I fought a couple of the first ones, but then I adjusted and everything was just fine. But overall, I mean, it felt really good, very efficient, really good putters.
And I mean, these are going to make great additions to the matrix here at TrueSpec. And when you are ready for your next putter fitting, make sure book your fitting at your local TrueSpec, and we'll see you next time.